Hi everyone, it's me Diddies. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be making some sims in Create a Sim, but it's not your ordinary typical sim. It is two of my favorite characters from literature, Harrowhark, Nonagesimus, and Gideon Nav. So they are from the book series The Locked Tombs trilogy by Tamsin Muir, who is a New Zealand author who debuted with Gideon the Ninth, which I feel is severely underrated. I know it has a cult following now, but I remember when I read it in 2019, I was so offended that it didn't make it onto the best books of the year roundup. I think I've read it 3 times now, and every person that I buy it for as a present or that I hound until they actually sit down and read it has been really grateful. It is a work of pure genius. So I don't have a script today, I'm just going to basically info dump, but I will avoid any spoilers for the first book if you haven't read it, and if you have not read it, go and read it. Get it. Just trust me. And then come back here in a week and be like, thanks Diddies, it was so good. So when I was creating the girlies in Create a Sim, I have the book covers to work from. I'm gonna have to show you on the screen what the covers look like because I only have the second book. I stupidly lent the first book to a boy and I'm never getting that back. But Gideon is sort of butch and Harrow is very petite and pointy, sharp edges. That's at least how I see them in my mind. But I knew that Gideon had to have big beefy arms, and unfortunately, because I was not using custom content, I couldn't give her a sword, but she needs a sword. Just know that within her heart, she carries a sword. And she has this very iconic red hair that sticks up. And of course, the glasses. We cannot forget the sunglasses. And I was really lucky, I think, that Create a Sim has a couple different options for the skull face paint that you can see here. So Gideon wears a very simplified version of the ninth house mask face paint, mainly because she doesn't have the talent, or she hasn't been upholding tradition in the same way as the other characters, even though she's trying to pass as someone that does. And I think a bit later I try to put Harrow in the veil, and I think that Gideon wears a veil as well, but I didn't really think in the end it worked for either of them super well. When I upload them to the gallery, Harrowhark has a veil in her formal wear, but it just didn't really that. We don't have that many veiled options in Create a Sim, which is pretty ridiculous when you think about how we had a whole wedding stories pack and they gave us one veil and one hairstyle with a veil, so that was no good. But yeah, you can see here I'm trying a few different outfits on Gideon, and I think I settled on the best one that really kind of illustrates her character. So she is a cavalier. She is meant to fight with a rapier, although she prefers a sword. And I think she ends up looking kind of like a sci-fi lesbian warrior in space, you know? I think she's got that vibe. I wish that you could I wish that we had more glove options, but sadly, alas, we do not. And I gave her the traits, I think it was bro, active, and probably self-assured. Yeah, self-assured, because, you know, that's just Gideon all over. She's such a well-written character. She's so lovable. In fact, I think almost every character in the series is really well drawn. They have a lot of dimensions, and they're all extremely funny in their own way, even if they're a deadpan kind of they're meant to be the straight man to Gideon. They're all really well written. I cannot recommend the series highly enough. So I'm doing Harrowhark now. So Harrow is the leader of the ninth house, which is a house of necromancy and tombs and skeletons, and she is herself a necromancer. I don't want to spoil the plot too much, but basically they're at a competition. It's not really Hunger Games, but there are stakes and there are secrets. So they are in this abandoned spaceship. Let me recommend you the video that Gina Lucia Reads, I think is the account name. She does a really good summarization of Gideon the Ninth, because I made her read the book, and she also has a really funny video on the memes in the book, and let me tell you, there are so many memes. I got my username from a particular webcomic, and it's very niche, and the fact that Tamsin Muir did a homage to it within the text, she references Aquid, so there is just so much to the books. I think I settled on a pretty good hairstyle for Harrowhark here. I'm not convinced that the face paint was as it should be. You can see I tried doing it just with makeup. I tried to do like skull. I tried to replicate a skull with like the dark eyes and the really heavy contour. But you can't do nose contour in Create a Sim without costume content, so it didn't really work out. And I did end up putting her in the Day of the Dead kind of face paint, which I don't really want to culturally appropriate in that way, but there was nothing else that really screamed Harrowhark to me. I didn't want to put her in the same like clumsy, like unbalanced face paint as Gideon, because that is not her character. She is very precise. She is a perfectionist. I think I give her the perfectionist trait. She does things properly. And I think I did a good job with her features. I think with Gideon, she's not exactly as she looks in my mind. In my mind, she's like very butch, and I don't think that her face really came out the same way. But in the end, when it was covered with face paint, it didn't really matter. At least that's what I think. And I thought when I was going through Create a Sim that a lot of the actual Star Wars pack options are quite fitting, which makes sense because it is a science fiction book set in space, but nothing really had the cape that I imagine that Harrow wears. We don't have any capes. We have a single hood in base game, but it doesn't, like, as far as I can tell, does not go with anything, so I don't know why that exists. And I tried to put her in a few different like skull t-shirt options, but that's not really her style. I think that's more like something that Gideon would wear to bed or something. And I don't really see her in dresses, even though she is like in my head a bit more femme. She's definitely like a trousers girl. So I think I settled for, well, you'll see that I tried a few different options with the veil because I really did want to put her in a veil because I wanted her to be like an imposing kind of sim. I wanted her to look like very serious and in the formal kind of like robes of her house, but it didn't work out. And I gave her long nails because she like collects bone dust and like grave dirt and stuff under them, which sounds a bit gross, but you know, she's a necromancer, they're kind of gross. And you can see here I am going through all the like hat options in Create a Sim, and that we unfortunately just don't have that many veils. It would be nice if we did. I'm sure if I had another go at creating these two with custom content, I could find some really good things. Because one thing that I really wanted to put Harrowhark in was like she has this, I mean not this, but she has like this human rib cage skeleton that she fastens over, kind of like a suit of armor. She wears a rib cage around, and like obviously we don't have that in Create a Sim. There was a few dresses that I thought might look similar if you just kind of like glanced at them, but nothing really looked right. That would have been really cool, and I'm sure that someone out there has custom created some kind of like necromancer skeletal thing that you put on as like one of the bracelet options or something. So I would like to have another go at these guys. You'll have to let me know in the comments if it's something that you want me to do another video on, because I don't know if 2 Gideon and Harrow videos in Create a Sim might be too much, but it could be something that I do for my patrons. So if you are on Patreon, give me a little shout out in the comments and let me know if you want to see it or not. I did settle on this option in the end for her look because it was I took the feminine option away and it opened up a lot more choice. So this is a male outfit, but I think it gives the vibe. It gives the vibe of like flowy black, not really caring about if it's like form-fitting, more for like looking like svelte but also practical, and that's what I think that Harrow looks like, in my mind at least. There were a few other Harrows and Gideons in the EA gallery, but I think I did a fairly good job. If you've read the series, then you will have to let me know if you think that they look okay. But yeah, here they are at the end. So thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!